Welcome to Create Wealth Through Franchising. I'm your host, Kim Daly. Whether you're a CEO, a military vet, a real estate investor, or simply in career transition and ready to take ownership of your future, with each episode, you're going to learn valuable insights and hear inspiring stories from within the franchise industry. On that note, my guest stories are their own, and as a franchise consultant, I do not make personal brand endorsements or earnings claims, but I do educate, motivate, and inspire dreams. Now, on to the show. Welcome back to Kim Daly TV and Create Wealth Through Franchising podcast. I am your host, Kim Daly, and I am also your special guest today. It is the end of 2023, and what an epic year this year has been, at least for me. And I'm wondering how it's been for you. If you're tuning into this, please leave me some comments. Tell me a little bit about your year, personally, professionally, financially. You know, as the daily coach, I say that the financial reward comes when you become the owner worthy of that type of financial reward. So the personal and the professional growth have to come first before the financial reward is there. It's the hardest thing for candidates in the process who've never owned a business. It's the hardest thing for them to grasp. You know, they're using data from franchise disclosure documents to make investment decisions, and it's not how it works at all. Those of you who follow me know that data from an FDD means absolutely nothing until you wake up and show up for your own goals and dreams, right? And then it's all about how you think and how you act, because your execution based on how you think and how you act is what will determine what kind of money that you will make in your business. So, but everybody is where they are. And so I'm not judging anybody, and we all do what we do. And in fact, if people didn't do things like that to try to invest in a franchise, I probably wouldn't have a business and be so valuable. So there's that. But the point of getting on and sharing some thoughts with you was, you know, I had an epic year. I grew a lot. I planted a lot of seeds for the future business that I want to build. And one of them was going into keynote speaking. And this year, as you know, if you follow me, I was able to do my first keynote speech to a franchise. And it was an epic, epic event for me. I invested thousands of hours this year into planning for that. I watched so many videos on how to create a good keynote and TED Talks about death by PowerPoint and, you know, all the parts, so that as I prepared my speech, I had all of the relevant parts that make a good keynote. And the funniest thing about all the gyrations I went through, I said to the CEO about a week before the event, if you had called me today and said, Kim, show up next week and talk to my franchisees, probably 80 to 90% of what I said, after thousands of hours of thinking about it, planning for it, writing and rewriting my speech, 80 to 90% of what I said, I would have said without any preparation. Because I spoke from my heart and I shared my story about how I went from 8 years as an average performing consultant to 1 year later making history in my franchise, and made it very applicable to the group of franchisees that I was speaking to. And it was epic. It was so awesome. And I am so grateful for the amazing opportunity. And I've already been booked for my second keynote for 2024. So any franchisor listening, Kim Daly is available for a keynote. But the whole point, this is not the point of what I'm trying to say to you. The point is that the amazing growth that I had to go through this year to be ready for that keynote, that's where the thousands of hours went, right? So yes, everything that I said came from my heart and it was already in me, but bringing it out of me in a way that could make sense to an audience, and me getting on that stage in full confidence that I could deliver a 45-minute speech. That is where the thousands of hours of preparation came in. Because when I stood on that stage, I knew that I had done every single thing that I could do to set myself up for success in that moment, if you will. And it went off amazingly well. So job well done. I'm super proud of myself. Again, I'm going to get to do it again. But coming down from the high of that, I have to say, like, I've found myself in a little bit of like an emotional fog. I also, during that whole period, I was preparing this fourth quarter of the year, preparing for that speech. I also moved out of my house and was remodeling my house. So we were living in a rental property, and now I've since moved back to my home, and it's amazing, and all of that's done. And so I had all of these personal and professional projects going on in addition to running my day-to-day business, of course, which also grew this year. But I think that my day-to-day business grew because of how much personal and professional growth I was doing because of these side projects that I had going on. And that's really the point of what I wanted to say to you today, right? So enough rambling, Kim, get to the point. The point is that, if you find yourself just like, I don't really feel like I'm growing anymore in my business or in my life, I think we have to push ourselves out of our comfort zone. Go sign up to take a ballroom dance class or do something you've never done before. Learn to ski, ride a motorcycle. I don't know. Learn to surf. There's so many things that you could do. Learn to ride a horse, learn a new language. But the idea is that when you engage your brain in learning something new, you're kind of signaling to the world, I'm ready for growth. And so like attracts like. So when you start signaling to the universe that you're ready for growth, then growth comes back to you. And it won't just come back linearly in that one thing. It will come back in spades, right? Through all the different things that you're doing in your life. And I really think that that's why this year was such an epic year, because I was growing so much and it was awesome. The other point of what I wanted to say to you is I'm like in a little bit of a brain fog right now as I come down. All of these projects are done and I'm sort of basking in the glow of like, wow, what a powerful, powerful year. And at the same time, it's a little bit of a letdown. I feel a tiny bit, I don't want to use the word depressed because that's definitely not the right word, but it's a letdown. It's a letdown feeling. And I guess it's normal. I did reach out to my mentor and he laughed and he's like, that's what happens when you accomplish every big dream in your life. And that's why it's always about the journey, not the destination. And I hung up from that call and I was like, yeah, that's so true. It was never really about delivering the keynote. I mean, yes, it was because that was epic. But it was really about who does Kim Daly have to become to be confident to stand on a stage, to be asked to be a keynote, and then to be confident to stand on that stage and deliver that. And I think that's very, very true when you call yourself a business owner as well. It's not the owning of the business that we want, because who the heck signs up for all the problems that being a business owner might bring to your life? But what we're signing up for is the journey, the highs and the lows, the growth. The point of growth, what leads us to happiness, is personal growth. Just the business affords us massive opportunities for personal and professional growth. So I think that coming down from this high is normal and good. It's the end of the year. It's the right time to sort of put your brain and your body in neutral and just sort of coast a little bit, be a little bit numb, because it's a recharge time. And I made a short about this recently. It's also dream planting time, because we're going to get ready to go again in a couple of weeks. And so I've already have a few dreams that I'm planning for next year. I do plan to publish 3 books. I will put it out here now. I will get that done. These books have been on my heart for so long. When I read, I love it when I audible my book and it's like, oh, it's a 2-hour audible. I'm not into like writing a 12-hour audible book. I want short, to the point, make your point, take these nuggets away from the book and implement them into your life, because otherwise it's just another book out there. I want it to be a tool that, business owners can use, specifically franchisees can use to improve your life. So I have those coming out, and I have a few other surprises up my sleeve I'm not going to say or talk about right here. But the point is that it's dream It's dream planting season. So we're planting the seeds of who we want to become this time of the year. And it's not just about thinking about it, but it's cementing it by writing it down. And I haven't got that far yet because I'm literally so brain numb. I just can't even get there. But I'm taking time away from my phone next week, the week leading up to Christmas. And so that's the time. It's really, really hard to plan your future in the middle of life, right? You have to sort of make time to step away from the busyness and the chaos of everyday life to think creatively. It takes energy, and oftentimes I find that it's my early morning energy that's the clearest and the purest, and where I really feel the most in touch with like who I am. And then that helps me really kind of think about what I really want to create. I think a lot of like yoga gurus and people that are really big into meditation will say the same thing. The early morning hours when your brain is like still is when you're really calm and you're clear. So I definitely take advantage of those hours early in the day, and I will be doing that next week. But I don't want to go in cold. I have some ideas going into sort of like, if you call it a meditative week, it's a little exaggeration, but a more thought-provoking week that will lead by the end of that week to me cementing my goals for 2024. And then also getting out my journal and kind of looking at what I wrote last year for my 3 to 5 year goals. Have I advanced in the direction of those? And certainly by giving the keynote, that is a big advancement toward my 3 to 5 year goal of who I want to be and where I want to be professionally. And then also the 10-year goal, right? Because a decade of our lives will go by. And it's better to like plan for it and arrive at the end of that, like where you want to end up and in style, than to get there and look back and think, wow, 10 years went by. Where did the time go? If you're intentional, you can control that. So, these are some rambling thoughts that I have right now. I do really believe that if you want to be a successful business owner, a successful human, you have to be intentional. You have to own your power and use your power for good. And by that, I mean, using your power for good means being the powerful creator that you were born to be. And that comes back to designing the life through your goals and your dreams, and keeping those goals and dreams ever present in your day-to-day life, your daily life. And then every year coming back and visiting those more, longer term goals. I also think that, like I said, it's natural. My mentor said it, so I'm going to say it's natural to come down from the mountaintop once you've reached the mountaintop and kind of have a jet lag feeling and a little bit of a letdown feeling. Because like he said to me, it was never about standing on the mountaintop. It was about the journey of who you get to become to get to that mountaintop. That's the real win, because that person is who I now am and who I get to move forward with the skills and the talents and the confidence and all of that, the vision. And now that I understand how it all goes together, I can use those tools to get to the next mountaintop. So it's always about the journey, not that final mountaintop. And if you do find yourself on a mountaintop, and then you're feeling a little bit like I'm feeling right now, and a little bit numb, a little bit let down, it's just normal, because you put a lot of effort out there and everything was gearing toward that, and now it's done. And yeah, I'm definitely, reveling in the, wow, look what I did this year. But I'm also ready for a little R&R. And so I have to give myself that. And while I'm in the R&R time, I'm going to start dreaming about what comes next. Because if I don't start thinking about what comes next, I'm not using my power for good. I'm just going to stay in neutral, and a year of my life will go by. And look, I'm getting up there. I'm over 50 now. So I don't want a year of my life to go by. I want to maximize every year that I have, because there's so many things I feel that I can give to all of you. And I want to help so many of you, not just say yes to the dream to own a business, but to really live the life that you are saying yes to. And they are two separate yeses, right? For 21 years, I focused on the first yes. And I really kind of see the pivot happening for me, where I really want to work on that second yes with you, where you can wake up every single day feeling in control of your business because you're focused on developing skill and because you have your daily goals and your navigation plan that keeps you on track for where you want to end up, but you always know where you are in relation to where you're trying to be. I have some tools that I want to develop and the speaking engagements and maybe some coaching classes. And maybe that inspires you listeners out there that there's more to come from Kim Daly. I hope so. I hope you will continue to follow me in the new year. I love all of you. I respect all of you. I want to help all of you live your absolute best life. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, a little bit something different. And I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah if you're Jewish, and a very, very Happy New Year, prosperous, wealthy, healthy, good fortune, good friends, all good things coming to you in 2024. Signing off for the last time in 2023. My name is Kim Daly, and I am your daily coach. You can find more content just like this on my YouTube channel at kimdaly.tv. And if you're inspired to take the next step to explore franchises matched to you, please email me right now at inquire@kimdaly.tv. That's inquire@kimdaly.tv.